Hello and what is going on today, guys? Tomcat here, and today we are going to be going over every single confirmed car that I have found so far in Forza Horizon 4. Now, right off the bat, in this screenshot, we're looking at the Toyota Hilux Arctic trucks, or by Arctic trucks, and what looks to be the Ram Power Wagon. It looks more like a Power Wagon than a Ram Runner. I kind of looked at it a few times, went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and I was like, that looks a lot more like a Power Wagon than a Ram Runner. So, moving on from that, before we move on into the next part, I cannot wait to just throw these trucks across the landscape, like in the snow and the ice. It's going to be so much fun. Now, up next, this is the Audi Quattro rally car, and I mean, this car is a staple. I mean, this car, we all know it, we all love it, we all know it's very, very fast, and we all know that it's going to destroy, it's going to just eat up any terrain that's in front of it, no matter whether that's sandy terrain, muddy terrain, snowy terrain. This thing will just go through it and basically rip it apart without a better explanation. This thing will just rip apart whatever's in front of it. Now, up next, we have the off-road Beetle as well as the aerial Nomad, and you can see them going through the mud and sand, and you can actually see the aerial Nomad's tires almost halfway sunken down into the sand itself, which is really cool to see, number one. And number two, it means that there's a lot more going on in terms of the ground physics, that the way they actually deform. So it's not going to be quite spin tires deformation, but it'll definitely be really cool to see that out of a Forza game. Now, next up, we have the Bugatti Chiron. The Bugatti Chiron is the Bugatti Chiron, we kind of all knew that well, we didn't know it was coming, but we all kind of expected it would be there. It's kind of one of those staple hypercars, but it's cool to have it. It's definitely cool to have it. And say what you will about Bugatti. I mean, I know that there's some people that are iffy on Bugatti or they don't like it because everybody loves to hate Bugatti for some reason. But at the end of the day, it's a brilliant piece of engineering, a very, very fast car, and I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun to drive. Now, will there be other cars that I'll spend more time in? Probably. But nonetheless, it is here. Next up, we're going to take another look at the bikes, because the bikes look like dirt bikes, maybe motards, but the thing about the dirt bikes is I'm still not convinced that it's not just a showcase event. You know what I'm saying? Just like the Hovercraft, I'm still not convinced that that's not just some showcase event. And to be brutally honest, like, I'm hoping that it's not just a showcase event, but I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, if I feel like if they were gonna actually have bike gameplay, they probably would have shown more with the bikes, or given the bikes maybe a bigger spot in the trailer, but who knows, maybe not, maybe they're just teasing us. Now, next up, we have the Ferrari F40 as well as a S15 wide body. These cars are, again, obviously returning cars to the series, and it's really cool to see that Rocket Bunny S15 back. That's going to be definitely one of the main drift cars. I know it was one of the main drift car, kind of took one of the main drift car slots from the get-go in the beginning of Horizon 3, so there's definitely a lot you can learn from the first cars in Horizon 3 going into the first cars in Horizon 4. I'm sure that that's going to be an early on in the game car. At least I would expect it to be an early on in the game car, but that's kind of, again, up in the air because we haven't seen what the game is actually going to do and how it's actually going to start out yet. But next up, we have the Aston Martin Vulcan, parked at, by the way, a gorgeous house. But no, the Aston Martin Vulcan is definitely one of those cars that it's amazing to have it here because it's so crazy, right? It's so crazy. You would never see one on the street, and having it available to us on the street in Horizon 4 is so cool. It's so freaking awesome. And not only is it going to be a blast to drive it, but I'm sure it's going to be one of those cars that you're just going to rip around in and not really want to put it away. You know what I mean? You're not really going to want to put it away for obvious reasons. It's going to be that car, well, one of those cars that you're just going to keep wanting to drive and drive and drive and just beat on it. And it's just going to take it over and over and over again because it's just made to be a race car. Now, here we have the McLaren Senna and the Lamborghini Centenario. The Centenario making a return, the Senna making a debut. And the Senna, obviously, is an incredible car. Say what you will about the aesthetics of it. This car was designed in a wind tunnel for maximum performance, maximum aerodynamic efficiency, and around a racetrack. Not efficiency in terms of like, oh, I get better MPG, but no. This was designed for maximum speed, maximum efficiency around a racetrack. And the Centenario, obviously, we all know the Centenario. Well, I was going to say we all love it, but there's probably some people that don't love the Centenario, but I personally am on the list of people that loves it. So I'll definitely be playing around with that car for sure. It's going to be a blast to drive. And the Senna, I'm sure, will just be a monster, just an absolute beast. This next shot coming up is another shot of the Senna itself, but I wanted to kind of get a little bit of a better look, not only at the Senna, but at this tractor. And the tractors were heavily represented in the trailer, and I'm not going to call them in-game cars, but I'm going to say that they're probably going to be pretty prominent driving around. And especially if you go out into more of like the farm country and stuff like that, they're definitely going to be, this seems like they're definitely going to be out there. And they may trip you up if you don't avoid them. I'm pretty sure they're going to end up being traffic cars, or at least a equivalent of maybe like a slow-moving traffic car, slow-moving traffic vehicle. But that's just my personal guess. We'll have to see. But next up, we have the Ford Focus RS-RX, and again, the wide-body S15. The RS-RX is an awesome car. It's an absolute monster. It's a beast, so I'm really happy to have it back, really happy to be driving it again. And in the back, and I have a closer up shot of these two cars, but in the back we can see an RWB 993 and a Torque Stallion from the Hoonigan car pack. So if the Torque Stallion is here, if the RS-RX is here, cars related to Hoonigan, it's a pretty good guess that we're going to see other cars like, like say for example the Hoonicorn and the rest of the Hoonigan car pack, like all the rest of those cars. Now, this is an FXXK, and I really wanted to kind of isolate it in this shot because I saw the interior of it earlier on in the trailer, on in the gameplay, and I thought, that's just a LaFerrari. And then I caught a glimpse of the outside. I was like, wait a minute, that's not a LaFerrari. It is a LaFerrari, but it's an FXXK. So I wanted to kind of make sure, and I zoomed in on it and I checked, and I was like, sure enough, that's an FXXK. Now, next up, we're going to take a look at this Hovercraft, right? The Hovercraft, I'm almost 100% sure that is a showcase event. It's got to be, right? If you can drive that, that would be unprecedented for the Forza Horizon series. It would be completely new. It would be completely crazy, just like those bikes would be completely new and completely different. Now, I'm not saying that those are not going to be here, but I am saying that there's a good chance that the Hovercraft won't be drivable, and I'm not betting on it being drivable. I'm definitely gonna bet on it being more of a showcase event. But nonetheless, there it is. Now we have the gorgeous, absolutely just beautiful Huayra Bc. This car might not be the fastest thing around a racetrack, and it might not be the best at any one thing, but my God, it's just beautiful, man. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And that's not to take away from the fact that this car is fast. It is very, 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 very fast. And honestly, when you have all of the gorgeous design and the gorgeous lines and the gorgeous interior of that car, the speed is more than enough to make up for that. So we also have the Jaguar F-Type R Coupe. That is kind of like I would expect it to be in the game, especially with the game being set in the UK, and for the fact that that we've had Jags in the Horizon series for a while. But that car, obviously it's going to be a great car. It's going to be a fun car to drive. It's going to be a great car to have. And I'm happy to have it. I know it's definitely more of it's definitely more along the normal side of the cars that are shown in this list. But because the next vehicle you'll recognize again as another return from Forza Horizon 3, but it's also kind of a cool car to see back because it's a car that I've had a lot of fun in, and that is, are you ready? That is the Jeep Trailcat. They're basically a Wrangler with 1-ton axles and a Hellcat engine, which that's just awesome to have. When you talk about the snow and you talk about the changing environments, you see all the off-roading that they're giving us access to and how high the freaking jumps are. This thing is going to be a wonderful addition to the car list because of that specifically. And it's one of those things that you're only going to use it for off-road, but when you do use it off-road, you are going to have a blast. It is definitely a very focused vehicle. It's a niche vehicle, and it's going to be an incredible time to drive in this new open world. Now, here also we have a back view of what looks like the Power Wagon and the Hilux by Arctic Trucks. We also have what looks like the Arctic Trucks Land Cruiser. And again, another Toyota vehicle in the game. which is, again, really, really awesome to have back. Super cool. Definitely not going to complain at all about the fact that Toyotas are back. And honestly, that Land Cruiser, right? That Land Cruiser, it's a very weird rig to drive. It's very weird, but honestly, it's pretty fun. So, again, also wanting to take a look here at the Defender. You can see up there on the left, you can see another look at the Land Cruiser. It's also a nice, rear end shot of the Silvia, but we've already seen the Silvia, so we're going to move on from that after this. And then on to the London Taxi, which with this game being set in the UK, I can see why they would want to have it here. It's going to be hilarious. It's going to be absolutely hilarious to drive, and the more we can do with that, oh my god, the better. Next up, we do have what looks like an MG Metro rally car. Now, I'm not 100% sure on that one, but I'm 99.9% sure that that's what that is, an MG Metro rally car, and I do remember it being pretty freaking quick. Now, up next, we have what looks like an MGB, and these are some of the cars that, like, I'm sure that over the course of this game, we're going to see not only newer British cars, but also older, classic British cars really being focused on in this game because of the setting. Next up, we have the Penhall Buggy, and you can see it looks like another Penhall Buggy at the other end, and you can see some of the other off-road vehicles in the middle. You can see what looks like the Traxxas trophy truck out there at the front. And next up, I had to really kind of go back and forth on this one and really kind of freeze the video to see it perfectly, but we have the Polaris Rzr coming back, which that's going to be an interesting one. I'm definitely gonna check that one out and see what it's like to drive in Forza Horizon 4, and it'll definitely be great for exploring. Another shot here of the Silvia. I'm not sure why I ended up including so many shots of the Silvia in this video. I think basically because I took this one first, and then I went back and kind of found other vehicles while we were looking at the Silvia as well. So we can definitely rest assured that it's there, but we also have an RWB 964, and I believe it's a 964. If it's not a 964, please, Porsche purists, don't freak out on me. But this actually is interesting because it means we have two different RWB cars in the game, which I'm very excited about. I'm really, really, really excited by that. Now here you can also see the RWB 993 and the Twerk Stallion in a little bit more detail from the back of the RSRX. And that, again, is just more clues that the rest of the Hoonigan cars will hopefully be in the game. Here is the Subaru WRX STI rally car from the Blizzard Mountain DLC, and that car is actually very interesting because that car being here kind of says to me that, like, okay, they're definitely gonna have a really hefty car list from the start. Now, this is the Toyota T100 off-road truck. This off-road race truck is a beast, man. It's a blast to drive. Cannot wait to rip around off-road in that thing. And last but certainly not least, as we come up to the next car, we have the Traxxas trophy truck, which is, again, it's a little bit more of a competition vehicle that you're not going to use very often except for racing, but definitely going to be fun overall. And I hope you guys enjoyed this in-depth look at the confirmed cars so far in Forza Horizon 4. If you did, don't forget to smash that like button. Tell me in the comments below what y'all thought of it. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I will be back later today with more Forza Horizon 4. I'll see y'all then. You thought we were done, didn't you? Well, not quite. Here we can also see the Lamborghini Aventador SV, which is actually a really cool one to have in the game, which I'm very excited about. Next up, we see a group of cars. We have an E-Type Jag. We have a BMW M2. We have an old Ford Escort in the back, and we also have a classic car up front, which, please, classic car enthusiasts, do not swarm me with an angry mob of pitchforks, but I don't know what that is. And I feel bad about it, but I don't know what that is. Now, in the next shot, we'll get a little bit more of a close-up of that Ford Escort as well as the E-Type and the M2. And really, really kind of cool scenery right around this area. I really like this area that they chose to show in the beginning of the game. As well as finishing off with the original Mini. And I feel like what more British of a car than the original Mini, and what a way to kind of finish off this list of confirmed cars. So again, hope you all enjoyed. See you guys later.